What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Source and Companies, the Source and Company podcast. I am your host, Source, of course. You can always catch me on Instagram or Twitter at Smitty Source, on both of them. You can also catch the show, Source and Company, on YouTube. Just check out the YouTube page. Like, follow, subscribe, whatever you want to do, holla at me. All right? Today's company is an MC's MC, dope cat from Jersey to VA to NC and all around. Dope dude. Got his Love and War project out most recently. He got a number of projects you can check out. We'll give you the math on all that good stuff. And he's an assistant basketball coach in high school, man, which is a whole nother that I love. So, you know, I like sports and hip hop all day. Anyway, let's get into it. Mr. Rise Rashid.
Yo.
How you feeling?
What's going on? I'm good, man. Just as good as everybody else in the world, I believe, right now. So, cool, you know.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, man. You know, I tell people all the time, man, I hate to be out here, like, having a good time and enjoying the quarantine part of it, I could say, but I'm enjoying that part of, if you can take something positive, that's the positive for me. I like being in the house.
Man, so the crazy thing is I'm actually not that type of person that typically just likes to be in the house. I'm very outward and outgoing.
Right.
But this time has allowed me to find a new part of myself that I really appreciate. Like, I appreciate just being closed away from the world for a little while and just being locked into the house. Like, it's enjoyable. It definitely, I'm enjoying quarantine, like you just said.
Yeah. You know, like I told my my homeboy, I was like, he was saying how he was good. They were good. I was like, you know, I try not to put it out there too heavy because a lot of people, it's people dying, obviously. It's their situation. It's worldwide. And saying you're having a good time, people could try to flip that like you don't take it serious. We know it's serious. It's just that you got to find the good and the bad.
Yeah, no, it's with any casualty that's ever happened, you always, in order to get through it, right, you always got to find something good from it. Absolutely. And this is just our good right now, that, you know, it really sucks that people are losing their lives and, you know, people are being sick in general. But the best you can do for them is not let it be in vain by staying and enjoying your family for those people that can't. You know, once they get sick, they got to be locked out. Yeah. I was watching something where they said the lady was explaining her going through COVID, and the one thing she wanted to do was just hug her kid. So it's like, all right, cool. I can actually do that right now. And for the fact that I can do that and I got that message from her, that's me doing something for her in a way.
Absolutely. Got to appreciate what you have, for real.
Right.
Man, so we got so much to talk about. Like, we could talk about these topics for like hours, but we're gonna see how we can chop it up and get the best out of this thing. Let's do it. The most recent thing you have. Well, not even though. Actually, you know what? Let's start with the album. The Love and War project. We talk about how that came about and how it's been doing for you.
Man, so first of all, I'll talk about, first let me answer the second question first. It is doing amazing. It's numbers wise, analytically, it's definitely my best project so far. Just to put it into context, the total amount of streams that I did in all 12 months last year, I've already done in the first 4 months of this year. Awesome. So that kind of shows, and that's a testament to Love and War, because Love and War is the bulk of it. So the album is doing great, and I know a lot of that is, other than the album just being great, a lot of people are home now, and this is time for them to discover new things, new shows, new music, new artists. And fortunately, I'm a person that they're discovering, and they're really loving it. But the crazy thing is the way the project came about. I knew that 6 months after I did the last project, 5 Mics, I wanted to do another EP. You know, before that I was doing at least 10 track albums, and I'm like, all right, I want to do EP so I can test a couple of things out, so I can try to, you know, test my reach a little bit and see how it goes. But also, you know, in an effort to grow my fan base, I know that the new fans and just people in general have a shorter attention span. Absolutely. So I'm like, all right, if I put out these 5-packs real fast, that will allow somebody who always sees my name or sees my name and like, all right, I don't feel like listening to 10 songs, so I'm just not gonna listen to them at all. Because we're independent artists, you know, you get that.
Right.
This is just 5. Boom. Listen to it. And then if you like that, you're gonna go back to the other 5, the other 10, the other 20. So with that being done, I was like, all right, what am I feeling right now after 5 mics? You know, 5 mics was a great project for me, and I'm sure we'll talk about that.
5 mics was crazy.
It was a great project for me, but it was more uniform to what I am. It was lyrics, bars, concepts.
Right.
You know, a hip hop lover's dream, so to speak. And with this, I'm like, all right, well, what am I feeling now? Well, now I'm hearing a lot of responses from it. It's like people are loving it and they're hating it. Some people are loving it because of it's a hip hop lover's dream. And the people that are hating it is just because, you know, people hate. And it is what it is. And it's their own opinion. They're willing to have that. I'm not a person to bash my haters. You don't have to like anything that I do. Like, it is what it is. But I wanted to put all that into a project of how I was feeling. Because even though I'm telling you right now that the haters are just whatever, I do have to be cognizant of them when I'm writing a new song. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always about proving your doubters wrong, speaking out to people that love you and people that hate you. Like, it's always about that. And then not to mention, there's a few things that I've been through in the music industry with celebrities, with other independent artists, with club owners, promoters, DJs, you know, so forth and so on, other artists, producers, whatever, that put me in a war situation. And it's like, while you're in hip hop, you always have to be like war. It's almost being presidential for your own self, because war, the concept of war always has to be somewhere in your mind, because you have to be prepared for if somebody comes out of line, or when one of those people that I just named, it gets kind of, you know, things get murky.
Right.
So with all that being said, to balance out the two of them, love and, you know, substitute hate for war, to balance out love and war, I felt like was me appreciating all those things appropriately, not being upset that this artist didn't sign me, or being upset that this artist didn't do a track with me, or this producer didn't release this record for me, or this promoter, that promoter, this, that, you know, instead of being angry at all of that, I'm gonna accept it, I'm gonna love it, and I'm gonna write about it. And that's where the first song off the album, War Poetry, came from. You know, war and poetry, to me, poetry was the love side of it, obviously, and war was war. So after the first song, I wrote probably about 20 songs and released 5, but I am planning to do another EP, like 11 War Part 2. Yes. And I don't even know I mentioned that before, but I'm planning to do a Part 2, Part 3. And
breaking news. We break news. It's all right.
Yeah.
News on Source and Company. It's cool.
That's right. That's right. So that's breaking news. And it's another EP coming. Love and War Part 2 is in the works as we speak.
Bro, you stayed out, well, obviously not right now, but before we were quarantined, you stayed on the move, stayed grinding, stayed doing shows. Like, you were always out there. And specifically videos, man. You do a lot, in my opinion, you do a lot of videos, especially for an independent artist. I mean, every time something drops, boom, it's a video to go with it, or something visual to bring people who might not know who you are to their attention. That's dope. Like, explain your thoughts about doing videos and the most recent joint.
So the crazy thing about that is there was a time where that was my knock, that I would always have I would have songs, but I didn't have videos attached to them. Like, okay. You know, so being a person that learns from his mistakes and is able to kind of progress with the times, I decided now, anytime you have something that you know, my lyrics are they're very visual lyrics.
Right.
But you have to put a visual to those things, you know, an actual visual to those lyrics. And yeah, you know, I bought into it. And a big part of it is actually my manager. Big shout out to him, David Collins, who, you know, we were paying a bunch of people a bunch of money to shoot these videos, to travel on the road with us, to do this and do that. And he finally decided to make the investment of buying his own equipment, but not just buying his own equipment, but also studying the knowledge of exactly how to properly video an artist like myself and the things that kind of go around it. Mm-hmm. So once he studied that and studied the editing, then we just hit the ground running. Now it's like, you know, you pack the camera with your suitcase and everything else. You know what I'm saying? And we pull the camera out and go with it.
Yeah, so, a lot of people could benefit from that approach. Plus the fact of even having the manager who was willing to jump out there and do whatever to get things done. I mean, that's always a check.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what else, though. The other thing about that is that I was having moments, you know, I'm blessed to be around certain, you know, celebrities and in certain circles and crowds, even though I'm an independent artist, I'm able to brush shoulders with a lot of higher ups. I was having moments that wasn't captured. And I was like, damn, I wish my eyes was videotaping this stuff, because if someone can see that, just like, for instance, to bring it up, when I walked into the VIP, we was invited into the VIP down in Atlanta after A3C by Nas.
Right.
You know, Nas is my manager's cousin, their family. So we were performing. I performed at Stankonia Studios that year. A3C was 2017, I believe, and Nas was the headliner of the last day. So we both went to the Gold Room Club down in Atlanta, and when I got invited up to his VIP, as soon as I walked up there, Nas is reaching his glass out towards me, but I'm not paying attention. I'm on my phone. So my homie C-Notes is beside me, and he's tapping me like, yo, pick your head up. So I look over at C-Notes. I wasn't even looking at Nas. I looked at C-Notes. He's like, yo, look up. And Nas is sitting there reaching his glass across there to toast to me. And I left this man waiting for, like, I don't know, it felt like an eternity. It might have only been 5 to 10 seconds at the time.
Right.
But I'm like, damn, why we need a video for that. Fortunately enough, Getty Images was there and they captured it. So like a couple days later, I was like, damn, I wish somebody had that moment. I Google searched it and found the picture, and that's it. So when it's moments like that where you wish you had your camera, you know, because now I gotta purchase the image from Getty Images, and I wouldn't have had to do that if I had my own video camera roll. So
thanks. Yeah, that's a dope moment in itself, because Nas is your dude, right?
Man, I was fought people. I almost fought a couple people defending Nas.
Not Nas, Jay-Z.
Yeah, of course, the Nas Jay-Z stuff, man. But growing up, when I grew up, we already knew that there was a beef between Nas and Jay-Z before either Takeover or anything that came before that, you know, immediately before that.
Right.
So it was already an argument, right? Which, you know, most people know that one of the reasons why that beef was so big is because we had been arguing for years after Biggie died as to who was the king of New York at that time, which New York was hip hop at that moment.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, man, Nas is definitely, as an artist, I will specify that as an artist, he is my favorite rap artist of all time.
Do you have a favorite Nas album? Either one, album, bar, or song?
Yes, I can yes that. Favorite album was actually the first, and this is, some hip hop heads is gonna be like, that was the first one you heard? The first album I heard was It Was Written.
Okay.
That was the first one that came across my ears. And that is, to me, still my favorite, even though I can't call it better than Illmatic, because it's not, but it is my favorite, personal favorite. It Was Written.
Right.
My favorite song on there is the intro. And my favorite bar, which is a bar I've written on walls and bathroom stalls and everything, is a thug changes, a love changes, and best friends become strangers. That, you know what I mean?
That's one of my joints as well.
The simplicity of that, but the meaning that's in it so much below the surface and between that lines just make it to, because you can pull out a bunch of Nas lines where it's much more intricate. Right. But with that, just the changes, period, period. Or changes, strangers, period. That's it. Love that.
I know I dropped that joint on Twitter at least 3 different times.
Yeah, that's it? Only 3?
Well, I mean, I'm more prone to through the lights, cameras, and action, glamour, goods, and gold, forward to scroll, plant seeds to stampede the globe.
Yeah.
That's my joint anyway.
Yeah.
I ain't even realized I was a Nas fan for real. Like, and I still don't know if I'm a Nas fan, but I like Nas. I like his music, but I never realized how many songs he had that I rock with until Life is Good. When Life is Good dropped, that was my joint.
Life is Good is a very, very good album.
It is.
Very good album. And it came after a point that, he had some knocks about whether or not he could make another album. Stillmatic was great to me. Some of the albums in between Stillmatic and Life is Good, but I'm a fan, so my opinion becomes biased. Mm-hmm. Some of those albums were great to me. But a lot of people publicly had knocks about that. But Life is Good.
Can't knock that joint. He knocked
that out the park.
But yeah, we can talk about Nas forever for real. But let's get back.
But that just says how big that moment was for me as a person, for him to, be toasted his glass to me. So
that's one of those mental Rolodex moments that will never go away.
Yeah, seriously.
So before you had the love, actually, you know what? I was going to get into the 5 Mics. Actually, since you mentioned 5 Mics earlier, we can go ahead and talk about that joint real quick. That album was dope to me. And I've told you this before. I wanted to have this conversation, at least ask you this particular Mixed Emotions featuring Joell Ortiz. I'm not even worried about how it came about. I'm not even concerned about that part of it. I'll leave that for somebody else. I want to talk about the song. When I first heard this song, I listened to, so if you're watching, listen to the song. You might want to pause here, listen to the song, and then come back. Because when I first heard the joint, I was listening to Joell's verse, and I was like, I mean, you got to hear it to know what I'm talking about. But I was like, that's very interesting. And I was like, how is this going to go? Like, I don't know. I didn't know where you were going to go with it. Then your verse came in. I was like, okay, all right. So now I got to hear like how this song came about, because that joint had me like for a minute.
Yeah. So what's crazy is that, so now that you have pressed pause and now you have listened to it and now you're ready to talk about it, I'm going to talk to you. I'm talking to the audience right now, as assuming you've heard the song now.
Right.
Okay. For those who didn't hear it, because a lot of people have heard it. But Joell had laid his verse first and then sent it to me. And that last line where he said, so here's a message to the up and comings, God, I forget the line. To the up and comings, I'll be the first one in the game to foul you flagrant. Welcome to the major. So it was like it was a jab at me on my song. But I never took it disrespectfully, not once. First time I heard it, I got chill bumps and smiled ear to ear, because I was like, wow, I can't believe. The first analogy I thought of was he threw a lob right at the rim for me.
Okay.
And gave me a moment to just, I don't have to work extremely hard. Now, of course, I got to come with it because he's Joell Ortiz and I'm coming after him. But all I got to really do is just punch that thing in, and it's a great moment for me. It's not going to take away from who he is as Joell Ortiz. but it's going to make a great hip hop moment for Rise Rashid. So I was very happy when I heard the line, when I heard the jab, when I heard the entire verse. It was like, okay, it was leading up to that, because even listening to it, I felt like it was coming to that point. So once I heard it, it was a aha, yes, good. It was a good moment. So at that point, I actually, to be quite frank and be quite honest, I took some time writing my verse.
Yeah.
Because I knew that that wasn't something that you were just supposed to rush. You're not just supposed to. A moment like that, it's like, back to the Nas and Jay-Z analogy, Ether came out months after Takeover, because that was a great moment for Nas, and he had to really take that moment in and then respond properly, right? So I took that time to really write a really great verse, but also to give my perspective of what he was saying. We had already had the concept of the song, and though we didn't know each other's verses and which way we were going, we knew that it was broad, mixed emotions. Talk about how you're feeling, on different places of the spectrum. So I decided to jump out there and name my top 4 rappers, but name them as top 5 and say, you know what, I could be that 5th. And granted, I didn't mention Joell Ortiz name in 1, 2, 3, or 4. Right. So to say that I'm the 5th in between the lines says that I could actually be better than this guy that just threw a jab at me. Now again, it was no level of disrespect. It was friendly fire. It was all. Again, I thank him, and still to this moment, day and time, am very, very appreciative of him for doing that. And yeah, I went in from there. I knew my verse was going to be longer than his, but I also knew my verse had to be longer than his, not just because it's my song, but because he's Joell Ortiz. I need a little bit more time to present what I'm going to say. So I took it a certain way for 16, and then, on that 17th bar, that's when I jumped it up and ran off with it. So yeah, and he loved it. I was sitting back waiting for his response once I sent it back to him. And when he sent back his response, he actually sent back 2 responses. He initially responded one time and was like, yo, that's dope. Boom. And then he must have went back and listened to it again, because a couple days later he said, yo, Rise really did his thing on that joint. He sent that message to my manager, actually. So yeah, that mixed emotions. That's another great hip hop moment for me, man. The fact that, somebody called me after that. It was like, listen, I don't care how good your verse was. The fact that you are able to come on a record after somebody as monstrous as Joell Ortiz lyrically, and make a conversation for people to say, yo, he killed Joell. Joell killed him. For it to be a debate, you did what you were supposed to do.
Exactly. You can't ask for no more than that. You can't ask for more than that.
Great hip hop moment.
I love it. I love it. So what I was going to mention before is your Cold Summer Challenge, because that's your, like I said, the Love and War is the most recent project. That Cold Summer Challenge joint, like that joint caught me off guard, because I hadn't even paid any attention to the whole concept until I heard your joint.
Oh wow, cool.
So how did that even, obviously it came about because it's something to do and it's a challenge and you took it. So.
Listen, I don't follow a lot of celebrities, and it's not for any other reason other than I just don't. Like, I follow a lot of ordinary people and people that just do things that, are creative and surprise me. So I don't follow Fabulous, or I didn't follow Fabulous before this. And I hadn't followed a bunch of people and hadn't seen this Cold Summer Challenge. Somebody had, actually one of my former players in Virginia, Devin Brooks, had sent me, and he was like, yo, I can hear you all over this. And I was like, okay, well, what is it? So I listened into it, and I was like, okay, all right, cool. And then I went to Fabulous's page, and I saw, okay, he issued a challenge, but I hadn't heard anybody else's. So I went in, I was like, all right, I'm just going to write something to this because it's a concept that I feel. I love Fabulous as an artist. Fabulous has, at times, inspired my pen to get up and get something done. So I listened to that joint, man, and then I decided to, Here's what I really wanted to do with that Cold Summer joint. And for the people that have heard it already, they know that this is what it is. I wanted to capture this entire moment that we're in right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cold sweats on my pillow, vertigo head whipping like Willow. You know what I'm saying? And then kind of say some things. It was some lines in there where I said, I wasn't even hungry. I just wanted to eat. I know the month and the year, not the day or the week. Those are things that we all feeling. It's like, yo, when you're quarantined at home, it's like, damn, what day is it?
Right.
I know it's April, but April what? What does it matter? I don't know. I ain't got to go to work tomorrow. I ain't got nothing to do. It's what it is.
Right.
And then it's like, I'm not doing anything. So shit, I'm going to go walk to the refrigerator and grab something to eat. So again, I just wanted to capture what was in this moment. So it supersedes the challenge. Like a lot of people with the challenge, you're going to listen to their stuff and then it's going to be, all right, cool. I got the challenge. The challenge is done. The joint is over with. For me, even though the challenge is as a trend has died down, my joint's still going up right now because people are listening to it as the moment that we're in. Well, guess what? Next year, when we thinking back on this time, you can go back to that, to mine specifically, and some others that I've heard since then that capture this moment and know that that joint was very specific to the times and can really creatively put yourself into that space.
Absolutely.
So that's what I wanted to do with that joint.
Yeah, man. I think that joint was perfect. I think it was lyrically and the concept and the video to go with it.
Yeah.
Production value. Like you always got the production value with your video.
Yeah, I'm a marketer, man. So I know how to market and advertise properly, man. It's a gift that I've been given, and I know how to use it. So
Respect that. Speaking of videos, I was just scrolling Facebook which kind of back to you finding things to do in time. I was scrolling and I saw something about Friday, and Friday, the movie Friday. Friday is my favorite movie of all time, like bar none. The only argument I have some days is Friday and Coming to America. That's the only thing that's even close. Other than two, like there's a 3, 4, and 5, but it can change. It can vary. One is Friday 99% of the time. So I scrolled across this video and you tell the people about the video because you and your son.
So yeah, so it's crazy. I'm a TikToker, man. I know a lot of people are like,
really?
yo, I saw a meme that said, yo, I don't care how bored I get, I'm never downloading TikTok. I get it. I ain't knocking nobody that don't get on TikTok.
Right.
But I got on TikTok a minute ago, not only because I work with kids. I work inside the high school working with kids. Mm-hmm. So I knew what TikTok was ahead of time. I have a teenage daughter, so she TikToks all day, every day. But the most important thing was when I went to my last A3C conference, we were in a conference hall and people from the music industry were speaking, and the man said several times, the person that was speaking, he was speaking with 2 Chainz. No, Dapper Dan speaking after 2 Chainz. I forget who it was speaking, but he said specifically, if you are not on TikTok yet, talking to a room full of up and coming artists and designers and stylists and things like that, he said, if you are not on TikTok yet, you are behind the time. And you might want to make your decision right now to get on it and learn what's going on so that you're ahead of it. So with all that being said, I got on board. I got on my TikTok vibe. I started seeing what was on. And I noticed on TikTok, people was doing voiceovers. Okay, boom. Leave that where I put it. Being quarantined, I got one son. I got 2 daughters. I got a 13-year-old daughter, a 2-year-old daughter, and 1 boy in the middle. God help him, right? Well, I literally kept going to the kitchen as I was just speaking about, right?
Right.
I wasn't even hungry. I just wanted to eat. But every time I kept going to the damn kitchen, this little boy was in the kitchen too. Mm-hmm. Literally, like this was a real life moment that happened. So I decided to have a little fun with it. I actually took the cut, the unedited version that didn't make the movie. where John Witherspoon, God rest his soul, rest in peace to him, he was snapping. He was going off. Like what they put in the movie was a small piece of where he really went in that scene. He was going off. So I said, let me take this, cut it up to make it a little bit creative, a little differently, so I'm not just plagiarizing, make it different, you know what I mean, put it in, and then kind of mix it up and put my own vibe on it. And me and Todd shot it and put it on Facebook, man. Joint did like 100,000 views. I think it's at over 100,000 views right now. I'm like, wow. I mean, I had a feeling people were going to like it and laugh at it, but I didn't know it was going to blow up like that.
Yeah, that joint went real quick, though. That was crazy. Because it's funny. I mean, obviously it's funny, and the fact it's a real life moment for you. I mean, that's double. Plus, you get to have a moment with your son. Like that's something in itself.
Yeah, and a lot of people that was responding in the comments was like, "Yo," they was tagging other people like, "Yo, this is such and such and your son." You know, mothers were tagging their either husbands or baby fathers, whatever the case might be, and saying, "Yo, this is you and such and such." So it was relatable. I wasn't the only one going through it.
Yeah. The whole world going through it, and that joint was perfect timing for that joint. So you call yourself a marketing genius, or should I say it for you?
I wouldn't call myself a marketing genius. I'm just at least aware of it enough to know what I'm supposed to be doing. I went to school for marketing. My degree is in marketing, so I literally studied marketing. You know what I mean? Which I'm a big believer in. I've said it several times. I think that whenever you're getting in and you're going to do something, you might want to, even when you have the natural ability of it, like I have some certain gifts, that I'm a good speaker, I'm natural, I never met a stranger, I got the gift of gab, all of that.
Right.
But you still have to kind of study what it is that you're going to do. So I wouldn't call myself a marketing genius by no means. I know my lanes and I know how to fill them appropriately.
Word. Fair enough. Speaking of lanes, you mentioned that you are in a high school. You work in a high school. You are an assistant coach of the, I want to mess up the name, Millbrook. Is Millbrook?
That's absolutely. You know it's Millbrook.
My daughter runs track, high school. At different events, I'll see people with shirts on, and I see Millbrook, or I would see Millwood, and I would get confused. I'll be like, yo, that's not it. Millbrook, that's the joint. Yeah, so that's why I always mess up the name. But yeah, Millbrook, home of, well, you can show us who the one of the most famous.
I can show you. Home of my young fella, my man, number 3 for the Houston Rockets right now. He is Chris Clemens.
Indeed.
My guy. Another great moment about this we're going to talk about in a moment, but after I show this too, of course.
Oh.
Campbell University.
Absolutely.
He went to Campbell.
Wow.
Number 3, they retired his jersey. I got this when we went down there, and they retired his jersey down there. But the crazy thing, much like the Nas moment, now Chris Clemens is not just a player that I coached. He and I have a genuine relationship between each other. Like, he didn't have to be successful for me to shoot him a text or him to shoot me a text back. Like, it's not that type of thing. Like, he just shot me a video the other day. It's funny. Like, this to kind of show you the level of our relationship. He shot me a video the other day that the car company that tinted his windows put on YouTube, and they wanted a song to play in the background. So he used war poetry. And he just wanted to shoot it to me to show, yo, check this out. They asked me, he put in quotation marks, yo, they asked me for a song. So I threw him this joint. Like, that's the level of our relationship. But myself nor himself had to be successful in order for us to have a genuine love and respect for each other. So for the fact that Houston is my NBA Nas.
Your squad.
the way I grew up listening to Nas, I grew up watching the Rockets.
Okay.
So for the fact that my guy went to the Rockets, man, talk about moments that you just cannot script. Like, that was just amazing. And I remembered when it had happened. I actually went to him, it was like a couple nights before the draft. I went to his house to pick up one of his Campbell jerseys. I was on my way to New York to shoot the Keep It Thorough video that I did.
Oh yeah, you were rocking that. You were rocking that.
So I rocked the Campbell jersey in that joint just to represent. You know what I'm saying? And that was something we had talked about. We had talked about doing. He and I had talked about doing well in advance. But I finally had a moment for it. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me go do this. And I was telling him in wishful thinking, yo, you going to the Rockets. So the draft went by and he didn't get drafted. So I'm like, damn, how did not? Listen, number 3. If you don't know who Chris Clemens is, Google him. The number 3 scorer in college NCAA basketball history is Chris Clemens. Okay? Only 2 people have scored more points than him. He averaged 30 points a game. He's only 5'9", and will dunk on you with 2 hands and shoot out the gym, dribble out. Just an amazing basketball player. Look him up.
Facts.
So where was I going with that?
New York.
I got this. New York, right? The fact that I was in New York and I think I got back by this time and he didn't get drafted. So I was like, yo, that's crazy. Shortly after that, I got a text message from him saying, yo, you got your wish. I'm going to Houston. And I'm like, wow, okay. So then I finally talked to him and found out, the route he had to go through. Obviously, went to the summer league, averaged 22 or 24 points in the summer league.
Smash.
And then, they rewarded him with it. He's on a 3-year contract right now, good rookie contract with the Rockets. And yeah, man. So that was just, I mean, I can't script that.
Absolutely. But you did use, like you said, you did use that marketing though. I mean, you did throw on the Campbell joint and the Keep It Thorough freestyle joint. So, I mean, I can still say marketing genius. I'll say it. You ain't gotta say it.
Yeah. You can say it, but it's just, again, it's really genuine. Like, it wasn't. Somebody could have looked at that and said, you know what, his man blowing up now, so now he want to wear his stuff, and now he want to use him to try to sell records. But Chris Clemens himself on Instagram has posted a couple of my videos at time on his Instagram feed. I have never once asked him to post anything, insinuated to him, yo, could you post this? Yo, could you? None of that. He'll hit me up and say, yo, send me that video. Yo, you killed that joint. I need that. Like, it's just, and that makes for the best marketing. Back to the marketing aspect of this thing. When you are being real and genuine and your commercial is showing a genuine, real moment, it can come off as a marketing genius. But again, as I said, I can't script that stuff. It comes out.
It's a beautiful thing. And it goes back to the fact that was a testament to you being a coach with influence, or just a mentor with influence of the youth. You ain't got to get into how you started coaching. I mean, I'm going to guess you played basketball and then you started coaching. Like, I can get that. But how did you end up there? And how has that been? Like, I know it's been great for the players to have a younger coach who is into hip hop and, understands their level. But how's that been on your end though?
So, I mean, again, this is something that I can't even take probably but a fourth of the credit for. There's some other people's names that I can mention right now, that I'm going to mention right now, that are definitely very instrumental in this whole thing that you kind of see. First of all, the way I got here, God rest his soul, my uncle, Carl Kent Sr., he was living here. My Uncle Man, in Jersey, legendary basketball coach, and they call him Coach Colonel. Everybody in South Jersey knows him as a player and knows him as a coach. I was coaching in Virginia, and he influenced me, long story short, to move here because Raleigh, North Carolina, the basketball world here is very big. He's like, yo, you need to be here. So I came here. I put out a resume at a bunch of different schools. Millbrook was the one that bit the best. I went to Millbrook. While at Millbrook, after meeting Scott McGinnis, I met Coach Chris Davis, who is right now our head coach. At the time, he was the associate head coach, right below the head coach, and I was an assistant to him.
Gotcha.
But now Chris Davis is the head coach, and I am behind him. He is the picture that you just painted, you know, young, he got that young spirit, he's a hip hop head, and he's relatable, he's a mentor. He embodies all that. So it was a great fit for me to be beside this person and get influenced, you know, by him. But there's one specific conversation that he wanted me to hold off. He always says, yo, I'm gonna wait till you telling your True Hollywood story and you put that out there. But I'll put it out there right now. I was talking to him when I first came to Millbrook, and I was like, yo, I think I want to go full-fledged on basketball coaching and start kind of fading away from music. And he was like, he kind of looked at me funny. And then he must have went home after that, or it was before that. One way or another, he heard my music that I had out at that moment. He was like, you're not fading away from music, my ass. No, you're not. You're going to keep writing. You're going to keep doing this. You're going to do it. 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 I kept doing it. And the trajectory went like this to like this, you know, from that moment. And then he ended up getting the head basketball coaching job, which I wouldn't have even disrespected him or Millbrook basketball by even trying to apply for the head coaching job. So I was rooting for him, pushing for him to get it. And when he got it, it landed perfectly. Our first season was our only rough season that we've had in my 7 seasons there, and we still had a winning record. But the very next season, we had a 24-0 regular season, lost a game before the state championship game to a very, very, very good South Central team. And then the following year, which was just this past year, we were 27-2 or 3, and got knocked out of the playoffs by our rivals, which really sucked. By 3 points in a weird, and that's another story for another time. The way that game ended was crazy, but it's classic high school game. But yeah, just being the right person and being the right person around the right people allowed me to have that moment, or this moment right now, as being an assistant basketball coach for a popular team and allowing my style to fit that so well. That makes sense.
You say popular, like Millbrook is usually has been good for a minute, right?
We have the longest running state playoff appearances in the state of North Carolina, which, you know, they call the hoop state.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we have a very, like, our overall record is crazy. It is insane because we have a lot of seasons where we only lost 2 games, and one of those being maybe the one right before the state championship, like in Chris's years when Chris was playing for us. So yeah, Millbrook, you know, several times this past year we were ranked, I think, as high as number 11 in the country, but every year we're ranked somewhere in the top 50 of the country. You know, in the top 1 or 2 in the state. So, I mean, it's just a blessing. We just, you know, and that's nothing that I can't say that that's even a fourth me. That's just something I'm allowed to be a part of and put my stamp on it and bring something to the table to make that situation better.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the back-to-back joint you did for the squad. That joint was fire. That was like, what?
Yeah.
Was that 2 years ago?
That was Chris's last year, man. I think Chris's last year was last year. I wrote a school song, but that was like 2015, 2016. Wow. Yeah, I wrote that, and I'm getting ready to get back to that actually. You know, wrote some dope records for the basketball team specifically. You know.
Kids can't get that everywhere, bro. Kids can't get that.
I wish I had that. Real. You got a fight song written by your coach that's ill. You know, I mean,
it's hip hop, and it's hip hop.
That's
beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Again, a testament to your being there with the kids. So that's a great thing, just in general. Now,
absolutely.
I got 2, but I only really have one more topic I really want to talk to you about, which is related to hip hop. But I mean, I'll just ask you about the. I was going to ask you about being Muslim, but let's go this way with it. What did you think off top? What did you think about Jay Electronica's album?
I was not a fan of Jay Electronica's album. I do think I like Jay Electronica as an artist.
Uh-huh.
And I'll say this, and I've kind of held back my opinion publicly on it just because I just did.
Right.
But I was listening to I listened to the first record, I like the first record. I was listening to the second record, which I think was the first one that Jay-Z appeared on.
Ghost of Slim, Slim, I believe it is.
Yeah. And I'm listening to the record, and I liked it, but I did not like the line personally. It has nothing to do with anything else. Personally, I didn't like the line where Jay Electronica mentioned, if it comes from me and Hov, then consider it Quran. Personally, as my own personal beliefs, as a believer in the Quran, the Holy Quran, we hold that up there, way up there. Like that is the book of books for us.
Right.
So there's nothing specific that a man, a human, can write in a verse that I'm going to consider to be that. Now, do I think that he was taking it that literal? No. Do I think many artists, including Nas, have said things that would be blasphemous? That's in the nature of it. But I do have the choice to choose what I wish to listen to and what I choose not to. Parts of it is hypocritical. It is what it is. Not that I do it myself, but I'll listen to Nas say it, but I won't listen to Jay Electronica say it.
Right.
That I'll let the people debate that all they want. But I just turned away from the album at that point and didn't really give it any more love or hate. Like it just became a thing that kind of was out there and existed. And I didn't go up under somebody else's stuff that was loving the album and say, yo, don't listen to the album, it's trash. No, I would never do that to somebody that's creative. Like, nah. And I know he probably put a whole lot of work into that album.
Sure.
I also know that he is though there's slight differences in it. I mean, we're all brothers. But he is with the Nation of Islam. I am a Sunni Muslim. We don't divide ourselves. So I'm not putting that out there to say that there's, I accept my blood cousin is married to Mr. Farrakhan's granddaughter. So that's actually my family. But because of that, we do have certain beliefs that kind of divide us in a way. And I'm, the reason why I've guarded my tongue on responding and talking about that is because I don't want to be a part of that division. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not about that. So that's Jay Electronica's album as a whole.
Respect. I can respect that. So we'll wrap it up though with a topic that I think you and I discussed via social media a little bit. You had mentioned the top 5 female MCs in your in the moment. 5 names. I don't even remember. I should remember. I mean, at top 5, I don't think it was any particular order. I believe you had Elba.
So I have my top is Queen Latifah, number 1, Eve, number 2, Lauryn Hill, number 3, Missy, number 4, and Nicki Minaj as number 5. And I had an honorable mention to Lil' Kim.
Okay. Now, when you came up with that list, were you thinking artists, lyricists, or just when you see them, you're like, boom?
I wanted to. It had to be everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a Nicki Minaj fan. I don't listen to Nicki Minaj, but I'd be insane to not mention her impact that she's had on the game.
Absolutely.
Not also to also mention that she has some verses that are crazy.
Sure.
That can definitely hold a torch to a lot of dudes, and like she has some crazy stuff out there. Though I don't listen to her personally, she had to make that list. But that's what I was thinking. I was thinking all things included. I mean, you put Missy on there. Missy is not a lyrical genius, but her impact on the game, if somebody told me she was number one, I can't argue against that too much because her pen is crazy, her production is crazy, her styles is crazy, her impact is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I had to go with Queen as the GOAT. And I was reminded of Queen being the GOAT by that verse she got on Rhapsody out.
Yo, that was actually the first song I heard from the album. I went looking for the album. I believe I Googled or YouTube the day it came out, and it just started playing randomly. And that was the first. I didn't even know Queen was on the joint.
Me either.
It started, and I was like, "Yo, that joint was ill." Ill, yeah. So you had to respect that. You had to respect.
Had to. And then of course I mentioned Lauryn Hill. Eve doesn't get mentioned enough in my opinion, but lyrically, delivery, all of that, she was in the pit bull cage, so to speak, and was the only female in it.
Yeah.
And held every bit of her own.
True.
You know, the Locks, DMX, Drag On, and everybody that was in that Rough Rider camp, she still came on records, and it wasn't, no shade, but it wasn't a mill on a Rockefeller record.
Right.
It was, that's Eve.
Yeah.
I want to hear Eve's verse.
Yeah. Understood. Now, see, I was going to let you go, but you mentioned Rhapsody.
Yeah.
2 Chance Encounters, same spot.
Crazy. 5 or 6 years apart. We met twice in the same exact spot, Rhapsody and I.
And she remembered. She remembered.
Yeah. She definitely remembers. She's a real down to earth, real person. And the crazy thing is, I didn't know at the time, but I had saw her 2 days before my birthday, and her birthday is in the same week. I don't know if hers is the day before or after mine, or 2 days before or day after. So here's the story about it. So when I first moved to Carolina, my Muslim brother, Tim Rainey, he hit me up and was like, yo, Ninth Wonder's DJing down at this spot. Come down, you know, and check him out real quick. He only plays hip hop from 99 on down. I'm like, cool, this sounds like a dope spot to go to. And Ninth Wonder's DJing, cool, I'm there. So I went there, enjoyed this set. It was dope. We was chilling. I met Ninth for the first time after that, and we was chopping it up. Rhapsody was there, but this was years before she really, like, you know, blew.
Right.
Because she was still doing her thing, much like I was as well too. And it was, you know, just a mutual speaking, you know, trying to move on from there.
Okay.
Fast forwarded up 5-6 years, I go to that same restaurant because my 35th birthday is coming up, which had just passed. Damn. I'm forgetting how that was. My birthday was coming up, and I was like, yo, I want to kind of have a come together, get together, and that spot would be dope. So I went down to that spot. As I'm standing there, I'm looking at the spot. I turn around, and I'm like, wow, we both caught eyes again at the same time, right at the same time. And you can see that she's looked at me like, I know him. And I looked at her like, the crazy thing is I wasn't thinking Rhapsody at the moment, so I was like, I know that. And I'm like, oh, Rap. And then we spoke to each other. And we was like, yo, when she mentioned like, yo, I know you. Where do I know you from again? Did I meet you here? Like it just was like, wow, this is dope. And then we got in. It's funny because it was she was going to eat. I was with my wife. I was getting ready to get out of there. So it wasn't a long conversation. But we talked about the Joell Ortiz record. Her and I. So yeah, that's dope. But again, like I said, I'm just blessed to be around and in the company. I've seen Ninth many times. Last time I seen Ninth, he came to one of Millbrook's basketball games. We was in the conference championship, and I looked down, 2 people down from the end of our bench, and Ninth is sitting down there, and you know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm coaching, so we just head nod and go into it. But just being in the places that I'm in naturally as myself, and not, overreaching or chasing anybody that because I don't have to do things like that, afford me the type of stories that, we're telling and able to answer. I know this has been very long, but I have so much to supply every time you ask a question, not to even boast or name drop. It's just, these are cool stories I think people can hear. And I'm flirting with the idea of doing something else. We'll talk about it off the camera, but I'm flirting with the idea of putting all this stuff in one place and presenting it to the public.
Do that. Yes, sir. We got to talk about that. Definitely. Bruh, please give the people your contact info, your social media.
So Rise Rashid, Rise, like it's spelled, Rashid is spelled Rashid. That's everywhere. Rise Rashid on anything. As you heard already, I'm on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, YouTube Music, YouTube, whatever. Just put Rise Rashid into anything. Say, hey Siri, blow us up some Rise Rashid. Say whatever you got to do, and Rise Rashid stuff will come up. My website is riserashidofficial@gmail.com. I'm sorry, I'm riserashidofficial.com. Yeah, so everything is everywhere. I will mention this.
Yes, sir.
We are developing right now an app that is I don't know if I can put the name of the app out yet, but the app, anytime somebody asks me the question that you just asked, you're just going to go directly to the app, and it's going to be so huge and big that it's going to be on another freaking level. I can't wait to start rolling out the information on that app. But yeah, so that's everything. Rise Rashid, look it up.
Understood. Well, bruh, I appreciate you taking the time. I mean, of course, and whenever I was going to hit you up, you was going to say yes, and we was going to get it done. And I appreciate that. Absolutely. But we finally got this thing done, so I appreciate it. Anything else?
Absolutely. Nah, man, that's it, man. Make sure everybody goes and listen to Love and War, listen to 5 Mics, and then, allow yourself to take allow your ears to go on a musical journey from there for the people who have not heard any Rise Rashid stuff yet, but for the thousands and thousands and thousands that already have, thank you very much for all the streaming, all the support, all the reposting, retweeting, and everything. I am so thankful right now to all the supporters, people like yourself that choose to call up and interview a person like me. I appreciate it all so much right now.
No doubt. Once again, Rise Rashid on everything. Holla at him. Source and Company. We are out here.